everybody, welcome back to the show. We're here today with episode 3088 of the Cabral Concept, our first Cabral HouseCall of the weekend, where each and every weekend we're answering our community's questions, about 10 to 12 a weekend. It all depends on time. I really do respect your time. I want to make sure that I keep my show to just about 15 minutes maximum, maybe 20 maximum, so that you can get a little bit of information every day without having to overwhelm you on any particular day. So again, like I said, no medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, medical diagnosis, but always trying to give you something better, which is to look for the underlying root cause as to why you may be suffering with specific symptoms or diagnosed disease. All right, let's dive right into the show. First question today is from Amber. Amber says, hey, I'm about to begin the 21-day detox, and I was wondering your thoughts on celery juice during the detox. I drink celery juice daily because has been the only thing to help me have a bowel movement. I'm working myself up to the CBO protocol, believing that it will help my issue. But until then, I drink celery juice. Okay. Yeah, happy to help with this. And just remember that, and it says at stephencabral.com/askcabral, these are not read until literally I open up this document. So my amazing team puts these questions together, but they don't read them, meaning like they're not customer service. They put these all together to be able to, for me to then open it up. And this one was from about 3 months ago. So about 11 weeks ago, that's when this was written in. And, but again, obviously happy to help you with this question. I just always want to make sure that if it's timely, that you write into cabralsupportgroup.com with a health-based question. We'll help you pretty much the same day. And if it's a customer service question, we'll just email in at support@eco.life. If it's a lab, a product, protocol, etc. All right, let's dive in though. Let's answer this question. There's no issue, Amber, with you drinking celery juice on the 21-day detox. No issue at all. So if that's helping you have a bowel movement, I have no problem with that. Celery is a pretty low to moderate lectin. It's a pretty low, it's definitely low on the FODMAP scale. It is low on the oxalate scale. So these are pretty low overall, not one that's typically going to give people a lot of issues. If the, specific celery salts are helpful for your digestion and having a bowel movement, then I have no problem with that. Okay. So keep on keeping on. I hope that 21-day detox did for you what exactly you were looking for. And then if you're not getting the results you're looking for, remember, there's always an answer. So anybody with digestive issues, you want to run that big 3, the bacterial and parasite stool test, Candida metabolic and vitamins test, and the IgG food sensitivity test. All right. Though everything today will be at stephencabral.com/shop. That takes you right over to EcoLife if you're looking for any of the labs or protocols we use in our practice. And yes, we do ship them all over the world. All right. Kristen's up next. Hey, Dr. Rawl, thanks for your work. I'm suspicious about histamine intolerance, but I'm not interested in following a low histamine diet unless I know for sure. The symptoms of histamine intolerance overlap with symptoms of other concerns. It's hard to figure out where to start, but adding unnecessary food restrictions is not my cup of tea. DAO deficiency. Is that tested via blood? What do you recommend for testing types and protocols? Are there at-home tests? Thanks so much. Okay, yeah, happy to help with this as well. So I always want to get people up to speed if they're just not familiar with this. So histamines is basically a granulation of mast cells that creates inflammation, and they're specifically targeting, let's call it allergens in the body, pathogens in the body, tissue destruction. It can be anything like that. It's an inflammatory, essentially, response to something that the immune system deems foreign, typically an allergen of some type. All right. Well, what are your main symptoms then of high histamines? Well, could be brain fog, could be skin rashes, could be bloating, could be nausea, could be low blood pressure. What else could it be? Yeah, those are the main ones. Irritability, but like that's tough. Like just like you said that there's not one thing. So it's not like we can say, oh, if you have this one thing, you have high histamines. And so that's why I don't disagree with you. Some people have loose stool, others don't. Some people get hives, others don't. Some people get like a rapid heart rate, others don't. And some people get headaches like I used to get, and others don't. So here's the thing. I know you don't want to do the histamine restricted diet, but I think there's 2 ways to look at this. And you also asked about diamine oxidase, which is an enzyme to break it down. I think all of that those are all, and you're not wrong in doing this, but those are all more surface level, right? So like a histamine reduction diet doesn't fix the issue why you have high histamines in the first place. Supplementing with DAO doesn't help fix the fact that your body's not producing enough diamine oxidase in your intestines, in your gut, right? And so I always like to get to the underlying root cause. Very simply put, I would run 1 or 2 different labs to look at what your gut health looks like. The big 3 is always the best. That's what I just gave for Amber. But if you want to look at just 1 or 2, it'd be the Candida metabolic and vitamins test and the bacteria and parasite stool test. Or you can just choose one of those if you want. But if there's a gut-based issue, we need to rebalance the gut. Then we need to seal up the gut wall, which is one of the main reasons why people have high histamine levels in the first place. Inflamed gut due to candida overgrowth, parasites, bacterial overgrowth, or H. pylori. So we need to get rid of whatever those 4 are, plus food sensitivities, of course, and then seal up the gut wall. So ideally, you run the big 3. Those are the best for it. And that's how we do it. All right. So if it comes up high, we're going to do the specific protocol to get rid of the parasites, the bacteria, the yeast, and or H. pylori. So that's exactly how we do it, because ultimately you're going to have to do it anyways to get well. If not, you're always just going to have to be on a low histamine diet or always taking specific, DAO enzymes. And truthfully, I do like them. It's not that I don't, but it's not getting to the underlying root cause, and it's not going to give you the real relief that you're looking for. All right. All right. Marina's up next. Marina says, hi, Dr. Cabral. I've noticed that my sleep quality differs throughout the cycle. Day 1, my sleep is incredible and stays that way till about halfway point. Second half is pretty bad. Insomnia, even if I sleep, the quality isn't great. My lifestyle does not change. There's nothing I do differently. I assume it's affected by hormones, extra magnesium, I think you mean red light glasses, maybe blue light blockers, does not help. What to do to support sleep in the second half of the cycle? Thank you. Okay. So I have a whole course on female hormones. This is really what we're talking about. I'll get into that in just a moment. That's at stevencabral.com/courses. It's literally everything that you ever wanted to know about your thyroid, female hormones, or digestion. And then there's one that's completely free on what is a functional medicine detox, because it's just like everybody needs to know about that. So, okay, so that's that. Then I have a lot of free podcasts on this topic, and that's at stevencabral.com/podcast. You can either type it in the search box or scroll through the images at the top, and you'll be able to find the one on hormones. Okay, but yes, so basically what happens is, let's just call it a 28-day cycle. I know not every woman has a 28-day menstrual cycle. I understand that. I get it, but 30, 29, 28, somewhere around there. When we get to day 0, which would be first day of menstruation, first day of bleeding, then what's going to happen is your estrogen levels are just going to start to climb. All right, so typically days, let's make it easier math, instead of saying like days through 1 through 12, and then there's days 17 through 28. We're really looking at the follicular phase, typically dominated by higher levels of estrogen. Then we're looking at ovulation for the middle of the cycle, and then we're looking at higher levels of progesterone in the luteal phase. That's how a female's menstrual cycle works, and that's how we keep the hormones in good balance with a healthy, balanced individual. So it sounds like for you probably don't have elevated levels of estrogen like many women do not, even though they have estrogen dominance. So meaning they have estrogen dominance, not because their estrogen's too high, but because their progesterone's oftentimes too low. And so the only way we would know, literally the only way we would know, and it's actually really simple and really straightforward, is we would run the stress mood and metabolism test. And we would just run it when you're not feeling well. And it's typically days 19, 20, or 21 of a woman's cycle. Progesterone should be peaking out. Estrogen should just be moderate or moderate to low. And if that's not the case, we know exactly how to help you. And then we also, in the same lab, look at cortisol levels. We look at thyroid. We look at vitamin D. We look at DHEA. We look at all the factors that, because estrogen and progesterone don't live in a vacuum, right? They literally, estrogen is going to filter down from DHEA and testosterone. So we want to know, okay, how do those look? And then if progesterone's low, well, if cortisol is elevated, well, that could be a pretty good reason for it. So you want the whole picture. Very simple, very straightforward. We can fix this. And that's the stress mood and metabolism test. Remember, every lab comes with a call, and it also comes with a personalized wellness plan. You can find those at stevencabral.com/labs, or just go to stevencabral.com/shop, and that'll take you over there. You can also work with any integrative health practitioner level 2 that you'd like. You can find those IHPs. They are amazing at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. Just click on practitioners and you will find one near you. All right. Susie's up next. Susie says, I'm a 60-year-old woman, 120 pounds, who had swelling knees, wrists, and thumbs for the last 28 years. It started after pregnancy. Diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, seronegative, took Humira shots twice a month for a few years, and it worked great. I've been on my health journey for the last 4 years. January 2023, I found out I'm sensitive to gluten. I've been on a gluten-free diet since then, no longer taking Humira shots since last October. Even though my symptoms improved, still get swelling on the knees weekly to a lesser degree. Per x-ray joints are normal. I'm on my last month of CBO. Leaky gut issues have improved. I track my sleep on Aura. No issues there. Yearly blood test is perfect, including thyroid, inflammation marker. Minerals look good. Metals, mercury's elevated. Aluminum's a little elevated. Just did regular detox. What am I missing? Susie, you're not missing anything. You're doing incredible. This is how people heal, right? So 28 years, rheumatoid arthritis. Turns out you have issues with your gut. Turns out you're sensitive to gluten and certain foods. You eliminate the foods that were causing inflammation the whole time, causing intestinal permeability, the lipopolysaccharides, the endotoxemia, which leads to autoimmune issues. You did the CBO protocol. You're in the last month. Then you're doing the CBO finisher. Make sure you do the healthy gut support and the daily probiotic. You're sealing up the gut wall. You're beginning, or I shouldn't say beginning, probably add some more of those lifestyle factors in. Good sleep, some walking, some exercise, calming the sympathetic nervous system. This is how we heal. You're doing amazing. I have your blood work looks great. You're doing great. You're off all the different detrimental drugs, like the biological drugs. They call them biological, but literally they're immunosuppressants. You're doing great. So what's the next one? Heavy metal detox. You had a little elevated mercury, so we want to lower that. A little elevated aluminum, we want to lower that. Then you're going to do a 7-day detox if you haven't already done your quarterly detox, and you're going to keep on keeping on. Because with autoimmune issues, you continue to get better every quarter. That's the thing, because your immune system sees less now pathogens and threats. And that's how you get better and better and better. All right. Keep up the great work, Susie. Proud of you. All right. So our next question is from Patrick. Patrick says, hey, doc, huge fan. I wanted to know if you'd ever heard of Jason Winter's tea for cancer. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate you. And I have heard of Jason Winter's tea. So I have a very long and detailed cancer research article coming out probably over the next 4 weeks. I know I've said it before, but you also know that I take what I do very seriously. And so I want to make sure it's never going to be full, right? It's never going to be 100% complete, but I want enough on there to answer all of the questions that people really have on what do I do first? What do I look to? All of the different things that you could ask, right? Because I've asked these questions. And then what I wanted to do is also be a living, breathing document that's going to live on my website. People are going to have free access to it, completely free, and that we can all learn and grow from it. So Jason's Winter Tea is not on my current recommendations, but I'm looking into it. The reason why it's not on current recommendations is that I can't find any real data behind it working. However, there is some anecdotal evidence for people saying, hey, like this worked for me. And also people love the taste of it. I see no downside. I'm just recalling this off memory, but I believe it's red clover, an herb called, some sage can be in there as well. An interesting herb called chaparral, I believe it's pronounced, a Native American herb that was used also for cancer. So that's why, again, I can't give you any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, medical diagnosis. I have to say that. But I think it's worth continuing to explore, and I am. It's funny that you even say this, because I have some in my office right now that I haven't used. It's been there for months just to taste it, just to, to use it, right? Oolong is in there too. There's a couple different formulations, but you can just go with the original. And that will give you what was considered, Jason's Winter Tea. So, Patrick, all that to say, looking into it, would love to see more evidence that it does work. However, I'm not discounting it in any way, shape, or form, and it may eventually make my list as well. For right now, I see no downside in using it. All right. Hopefully that's helpful. Thanks everybody for tuning into the show. I appreciate you. I will be back tomorrow answering more of our community's questions. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.